Welcome back to 45 Sports. UFC 287 just happened last night. What a card it was. That was an amazing card. I loved it. Great card they put on in Miami. And let's go ahead and get right into it. Israel Adesanya regains his middleweight title. Excuse me. What can I say? I mean, if you were watching that fight as a Adesanya fan, you were kind of scared because every time he got up on the cage, it was like Alex Pereira can close off the cage better than anyone. It reminds me of like a Dustin Poirier. Dustin closes off the cage so well, and Alex reminds me of that. And he's intimidating, man. I mean, the way he presses forward, and what I noticed in the fight was Adesanya really was a lot better at pushing him back and staying off the cage. But there was a couple times where Alex Pereira was like, "I'm pushing forward," and it worked. And obviously that last time, he was, as Adesanya fans, we were kind of like, uh-oh, he's getting the better end, and then Adesanya just lands that right hand and lands it again. And it really reminds you of the 281 right hands that he landed at the end of the first round where he wobbles Alex massively, And it's almost like, well, if Adesanya had time, and that's the thing, is you can't go what if in MMA. It's just not... It's not how it works, You could do that with TJ Dillashaw versus Cody Garbrandt 1. What if Cody had more time against him in the first round? You can do that with so many fights. Alex won fair and square in their third fight, and I'm not taking anything away from it. I'm just saying, what if Adesanya had 10 more seconds in that first round at UFC 281? Could you imagine? So Adesanya gets the belt back. I don't know if you do a trilogy. Alex Pereira has a really tough time making weight at 185. Dana said he only had like an hour left to weigh in, and they were getting kind of scared that he wasn't going to go. But he made it, so even if he did miss it, he would have had another 2 hours because he would have got the champion, weight exemption where they give you 2 more hours. So even if he did miss initially on the scale, he would have had more time to go back and cut it. But I just don't know if he's going to cut back down to 185. They say he weighs like 230 pounds at the start of his cut, so I don't know. Dana said 205 is most likely for him. I do think it would make sense if they were like, why don't you fight a contender? I don't know what they're going to do with Jamal Hill because, he's kind of in a tough spot. Not him, but the light heavyweight division's in a tough spot with Jan and Magomed having a draw. So you don't really have a number one contender necessarily. Yuri's still hurt. Rakic is hurt. But Alex Pereira would fit well into that division. I mean, he's kind of good for that division. But what a fight it was. Shout out Israel Adesanya. I mean, what did I say? Gilbert Burns wins it by however he wanted. I had it 30-27, and I thought you could have scored it 30-26, to be honest. I kind of thought that third round, he was beating him on the feet, then he took him down. It was very easy. I literally could have scored that 30-26 to Gilbert. Gilbert said that he thought Jorge was, a little slippery. He said that Jorge probably spent his day in the shower and then putting lotion and stuff on, and then kept doing it over and over. And he was like, if you watch it over again, he was very slippery. And he was like, I think if he wasn't, I would have had the finish. But I don't know. Jorge Masvidal's done, so whatever. I would have liked to seen him go out against Kevin Holland. Is what it is. Here's a tough one to talk about. I was really excited to watch Adrian Yanez versus Rob Font. I really was. Shout out Rob Font. Shout out the boys in Massachusetts, Calvin Kattar and Rob Font. Both of those guys had tough fights. They took a year off, and they come back and look phenomenal. Adrian Yanez, all love, man. That's a big jump from Tony Kelly to Rob Font. There's nothing to hang your head about. That's how this game goes. He'll be back, get him someone. Bantamweight division is also the toughest division in MMA, in my opinion. It's top 3, definitely. And he'll be back. He's fine. He's young. He's got time. And honestly, I think I could see him training a little bit with Rob Font, just kind of learning some stuff from him. Kevin Holland, man, he just looked great against Ponzinibbio. He had a knockdown in the first off of a spinning back fist, and it was crazy. He landed it with about 5 seconds left, and that probably won him the round. And then I saw a lot of people saying it was an early stoppage in the third, but if you really think about it, Ponzinibbio was face first with his hands down. Kevin landed one. And what was Kevin going to keep? He was just going to keep doing it, he was going to keep landing those. And I don't care what anyone says. It was a good stoppage. Dan Miragliotta got some hate for it, but he was going to keep landing those regardless. And it was a good stoppage. You see a guy with his hands down, face down. And he got a punch landed on him. It's a good stoppage. Shout out Kevin Holland. I don't know what's next. It's gonna be something ranked. I was gonna say Michael Pereira, but he's going to fight Stephen Thompson at 289, so I don't really know who would fit him, but someone up there, someone in like the 10 15 range, and that's how I feel. Raul Rosas Jr. experienced the you talk too much in this game, and that's what happens. So he's young, but you just can't talk like that. You can't talk about how you're gonna be Aljamain Sterling. You're gonna be the champ at 20, and I still think he has potential. It's just you can't overlook Christian Rodriguez. That's just something that I feel like he did, and that's how this game goes. A lot of guys at that young age talk very highly of themselves, and then they lose the fight, and it's just kind of like, eh. But he'll be back. He's fine. It's just part of it, and I mean, think about like Giga Chikadze, right? He talked like crazy before the Calvin Kattar fight. He's like, I'll fill in for Volkanovski's fight, and I'll beat him like crazy, and then he gets 50-40 forward by Calvin Kattar. So it's part of the game. You can't talk too crazy in this game because that is what will happen. Shout out Christian Rodriguez. Chris Curtis and Kelvin Gastelum. What a fight. What a fight that was, man. Kelvin Gastelum looked great. Now, both of these guys got hit a lot, and, that's a little worrisome because obviously, Chris Curtis has heavy hands. Kelvin Gastelum didn't even use his wrestling really at all. There was hardly any clinching, but what a fight it was. It was back and forth. There was a clash of heads in the second round that maybe kind of messed the fight up, but that's just another one of those things in MMA that you can't really say. I don't know. Kelvin Gastelum, though, looked great. I'm not going to lie. The change of camps, maybe taking that time off was good after all. He had 4 fights canceled in the last 2 years, and maybe that was a good thing. Maybe it was a good thing just to take time, get into the right mindset, take your time, work on that striking, and he looked good, man. I'm not going to lie. I'd like to see him against maybe Imoyov, maybe get that fight because it's been canceled twice, so maybe make that fight now, and I think he wins that fight, to be completely honest. So we'll see, man. I don't know, man. Kelvin Gastelum, he's only 31 years old. He looked very good tonight. I scored this one Michelle Waterson. I thought it was 2-1 her. Very close fight. But it was a really good fight. These girls were landing big strikes. And Michelle Waterson looked good. And, I mean, so did Luna. But I really thought Michelle won the fight. I thought she won 1 and 3. But I can see it going both ways. Joe Pyfer. That man has some heavy, heavy hands in that middleweight division. Scary. Very scary. Gerald Meerschaert is a good fight for a guy to, go up. And he looked good in his last fight against Bruno Silva. I said it last time. But Joe Pyfer, I mean, that guy's hands, it's almost like Alex Pereira hands. It's on that type of level where it's like, holy crap, this guy hits hard. So, Joe Pyfer's got, his next fight is going to be a big fight for him. I wouldn't be surprised if it was maybe like just a guy right outside the rankings or a guy ranked. I wouldn't be surprised. He is very good. Ignacio Bahamondes, what a fight he put on. He put on a beautiful performance. Steve Garcia, what a comeback. This card was it was amazing. It was an amazing card. Izzy gets his belt back. I put on Verdict, I put Izzy 3rd round KO, and I'm just so happy. It was a great night. I was trying not to be loud and wake up my family, but it was hard not to for that one. So that was an amazing fight. I love it. I don't know if you do the trilogy. I just don't know if Alex is willing to cut back down to there. He might be. You never know. Dana said he might move up to 205. It just, like I said, it makes sense. Just because that weight cut, man, it's tough. He's a big guy. He really is. So, and it makes sense, Jamal Hill beat the crap out of Glover Teixeira. No disrespect to Glover Teixeira. He 50-45'd him, if not 50-44'd him. And it would make sense for him to get his revenge. And maybe he could come down again. Maybe he could, go up at 205, fight a couple times, and then come down again and then fight Izzy. You never know. I don't know. UFC 287. What a card. Amazing card. So happy for Adesanya. Thank you for watching the video, and peace.